Oh boy. Fair to assume here that there definitely isn't a love affair between the Iranians and the United States. Yeah, lots of bad blood there, wars, conflict, coup d'etats, and CIA interventions as now. I think we're getting hints from a lot of people, including Tim Pool himself, that the United States government is going to be working with the Israeli government, potentially readying and preparing themselves for a full-on Middle Eastern conflict in Iraq 2.0. Let's run it back here because, the Bush administration just didn't commit enough mistakes. Let's finish the job, as they proudly declared, and so more chaos and division and destruction in our society. All of this as the United States just a couple of minutes ago launched massive airstrikes inside of Yemen. What's really going on here? What did Tim Pool say? As I thought his words here, I haven't spoken to him about this, but his words here are very evident to where a lot of the American foreign policy is moving towards. And it's not a good situation here, as of course throughout the last few months and years there has been a deliberate effort to wipe out all of the proxies of the Iranians, leaving of course the last place to be hit and destroyed, and that of course being Tehran. All of this as the United States has been pummeling and spending over $1 billion conducting some of the heaviest U.S. strikes right now throughout its entire campaign against the Houthis inside of Yemen. One of the poorest, if not the poorest, one of the most drug-addled, flip-flops wearing group of people that have been fighting Al-Qaeda in the region, representing the proxy for Iran, as a lot of the proxies of Iran have recently been taking out, highlighting how soon it's just going to be Iran left on the table to get rid of. All of this is on the heels of Tim Pool announcing that he just left a meeting with the Prime Minister Netanyahu in Washington, D.C., saying that they had an interesting discussion and that they will be discussing more on the show, as he released this statement 10:39 p.m. yesterday, after the meeting concluded, where, of course, he was not on Timcast IRL. He was missing. No one knew where he kind of was. Nothing was really explained. And then Tim later explained on his social media what was going on here, as now we have some news reports from the AFP that are highlighting how Tim Pool allegedly told the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu that the Qataris are behind the rise of criticisms against Israel in online discourse. Tim Pool, of course, came out on social media and said that the story is a mischaracterization and is saying that's not exactly how his conversation with Benjamin Netanyahu went down, as, of course, a lot of people are using this opportunity to attack Tim. But I found the words that Tim said at the end of his broadcast very telling and foreshadowing some bigger actions here that are really, really concerning to say the least here. Concerning to say the least here. Here's what Tim had to say about what he is calling absolute fake news.
Here, I got late word that I was invited to a private roundtable meeting with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Pool famously had Kanye West on his podcast is a Qatari op to manipulate social media algorithms to make anti-Semitic and anti-Israel episodes appear to receive far more views than, say, tips for picking up women, in order to incentivize podcasters and YouTubers to produce more anti-Semitic content. Netanyahu, however, was non-committal in his response, saying that's only possible. Fake news!
How dare you, Tim?
Absolute fake news. It's close to reality, but this is what they do, okay? First, the person who was there clearly wasn't there. Ask somebody who then conveyed incorrectly what I actually said. I said there has been a report released from pro-Israel sources alleging Qatar is funding bots and operations to promote anti-Israel content. Is there any evidence that's true? And he said, I don't know. It's possible. That's what happened. I did not say they actually were doing that, because I don't know that they're actually doing it. However, I did, to a variety of people, express what I've expressed on this show, that there are clearly bots that are anti-Israel and anti-Semitic.
Yes, this, as Tim also went on and to describe how a lot of the other influencers and journalists who were there really weren't asking any type of tough question. Tim Pool says that he asked, according to him, the most serious question in that group. Personally, I would have asked a lot of other questions myself here, not just about this kind of Qatari influence here. I think there's a lot of other pressing measures and matters at play right now that I think truly do need to be discussed here, especially now, everything that is unfolding, everything that is building up, everything that is developing, that has been developing for a long freaking time now, especially when it comes to the orchestrated plan that U.S. General Wesley Clark has been warning about, with the U.S. Pentagon officially launching a program to get rid of 7 countries within 5 years. Now, clearly, it's way past 5 years. But the last country that still hasn't been overthrown, still hasn't been destroyed, is Iran. You know, the other countries, Libya, Syria, Netanyahu saying how he wants the Iranians to follow the Libyan model recently. Yeah, that's just the way to make sure that you destroy these negotiations. And when you destroy these negotiations, you bring us closer to war, which Tim Pool describes here at the end of this broadcast. 1 hour, 21 minutes in, he says something that I think we should really take away here, because I think this is the most important bit. And I hate to do this, but this is the time. We do ads at 6 minutes in. We're going to do that. LukeUnfiltered.com. Sign up to it, 20 cents a day. Check your email, because Google just sends it to spam. It sends your credentials to spam. But today, I made a video where I taught people my meditation routine. And I did 19, close to 19.
All around you.
Look at that. Yeah, I did a 19-minute video. 10 minutes of it is a guided meditation. But I went on and I talked about the alleged kind of demonic entities when it comes to meditating, and how I do it, the impact it had on me, and a lot of other important stuff. If you're looking to relax your brain and to calm down and relax, since we're on the precipice of global conflict and another Middle Eastern endeavor that's going to work out tragically, that we are on the road to going towards. Yeah, you need to meditate to relax and get some, to lower your cortisol levels. Too many people have extremely high cortisol, extremely high stress in their lives. And the best way to better your life, and I say this because I have my supplements, and I'm like, hey, before taking any of these supplements, eat right, start working out, get some sleep. But get rid of stress in your life. Meditation is the perfect way to do that. Sign up to LukeUnfiltered.com and you get our meditation video, which I might be doing every day because I meditate every day. And whether you pray or meditate, check out this video. I think it's important for you. And we might be doing this every single day, where we just have a kind of impersonal conversation. And then it's like, okay, now we're going to do something good for our minds. We're going to reward ourselves with quieting our minds and relaxing and actually lowering our stress and cortisol levels. So there's that. Now, here's the clip of what I think is really jarring in my head. That really raised my red flags. Whoa! I was like, whoa! Oh, he said it. He actually freaking said it.
My view would be that, man, I don't know. There's concerns over Iran getting a nuclear weapon. Trump is supposed to be having talks Saturday, with Iran that I don't know are going to go well.
That I don't know that are going to go well. They're not going to go well. They're not designated to go well. And Benjamin Netanyahu is already sabotaging them. We'll tell you how in just a little bit.
And
we're, you can see, yeah.
We're back in Bagram as well.
Exactly. We're back in Bagram.
Tim made a tweet saying, responding to reports about Bagram Airport, saying allegedly that this is bringing us closer to war with Iran. I'll pull up the tweet. He didn't say it exactly like that. He alluded to that. We'll talk about Bagram here in a little bit, as there's a lot of news articles about it. There's a mysterious U.S. military flight around Bagram Airport that has, of course, sparked speculation about the Taliban officially giving it over. There's a lot of fake news reports saying the Taliban is going to be giving back Bagram Airport. And Tim Pool tweeted this, saying that this was a signal that there was going to be soon the bombing of Iran by the United States. The Taliban right now is denying a lot of these reports. And for right now, it has not been officially confirmed and it is still very unclear here. But let's go back here because this conversation is important here.
The general sentiment that was conveyed to us was whether we want a war with Iran or not, Iran is intent on destroying us. So obviously, it was expressed we don't want war. But if these nuclear talks don't go well and they begin to work towards a nuclear weapon, they never said anything like there's going to be war, but that was the general vibe of like, no one's going to let Iran get a nuclear weapon. It's going to get bad. I don't want war. I don't want to be involved.
It's going to get bad. That's the key word here. It's going to get bad. That's an affirmative word.
I don't have any good answers for you guys. Sorry. The U.S. is going to do weird, crazy stuff, and they're going to lie to us the whole time.
The U.S. is going to do weird and crazy stuff, and they're going to lie to us the whole time. Okay. This is as we're on the forefront of just a full-out war, a full-on conflict right now, a full-on Iraq war 2.0. Once again, I'm going to pull up the Bagram tweet here because I think it's very important to highlight exactly what he was kind of alluding to, exactly what he was talking about here. And he tweets way too damn much. Yep, he wrote Iran ? In response to this. It wasn't as blatant as I thought it was. Sorry, apologies for that. But let's continue on with the conversation here. And I think they just ended up talking about Bagram again.
Yeah, I was surprised when I read that the U.S. was going to go back into Bagram.
Again, not officially confirmed here. Lots of reports, but lots of reports from very kind of weird organizations that I'd never heard of. So again, hasn't been officially confirmed here, but there is concerning moves being made by Donald Trump, as pointed out by Glenn Greenwald, that talked about how Donald Trump announced just a few days ago, February 19th, 2025, that are going to be cutting the budget by the Pentagon. And now, during his White House meeting with Benjamin Netanyahu, he was very excited that he's going to be increasing the military spending by $150 billion to create the first ever $1 trillion Pentagon budget. Now, this is without Deutsche going in there and fixing all the fraud, waste, abuse, and corruption. And now these negotiations are already starting off at a very bad point here, as Benjamin Netanyahu is already coming out and saying Trump and these negotiations, they're going to be following the Libyan model. If you remember, these are the same exact words by John Bolton that polarized and absolutely obliterated peace talks with North Korea. Okay? The reason we don't have peace with North Korea, the reason Donald Trump doesn't have a notch in his belt, doesn't have the accolade of creating peace in North Korea, is because John Bolton sabotaged it. How did he sabotage it? The peace deals were going great. Donald Trump walked over to North Korea. He was the first president ever to walk into North Korea. Huge sign, huge gesture of trust, of peace, saying, I'll work with you. I'm not scared. We'll all sit down and we'll work out a deal. And he showed the North Koreans, hey, listen, I'm here. It was huge. It was monumental. And then, during the midst of the negotiations, during the talks, John Bolton is like, oh, yeah, no, the talks are going great. North Korea is following the Libyan model. Now, why does the Libyan model matter? Because the Libyan model specifically highlights how one leader, Muammar Gaddafi, who was, by the way, working on a gold dinar, an African gold-backed currency that was, trading with energy and questioning the U.S. petrodollar. He was told, hey, get rid of your advanced chemical weapons and biological weapons. He's like, okay, fine, I will. But in exchange, I want a promise of truce and peace and making sure that you guys are never going to attack us ever again. He got rid of all of his weapons, and then the United States covertly with Hillary Clinton, with Anthony Blinken, with Obama and Biden, launched a covert operation to overthrow the government of Muammar Gaddafi, leading to him getting tortured and shish kebabbed live on national television. So that's what he's describing. He's saying, Iran, get rid of nuclear weapons, and we're going to overthrow your government, and we're going to torture your leaders on live national television. That's essentially what he's saying to the Iranians right before they're about. He's pulling the John Bolton. He's pulling the same John Bolton move that John Bolton did with North Korea. And he knows he's doing this. And he knows what the Libyan model is, and he knows the message that he's sending. As, of course, that's a threat here. And as Tim said, hey, these negotiations don't work, it's war. as the United States is clearly acting on the behests of the Israeli government and Benjamin Netanyahu here, because there's no reason that this benefits us at all or works in our favor at all. Iran, far, far away. Why is it our business? It's not. It's Israel's business. Let's just be real with ourselves. And now we have Benjamin Netanyahu, an embattled political figure inside of Israel that many people inside of Israel don't want to be their elected representative. A lot of people are protesting him, by the way. The Israeli people, a lot of them aren't really happy with him as well. He says that Iran will not have a nuclear weapon, either a deal or by military action here. As Rand Paul also just tweeted a few moments ago, actually. Trump's willingness to negotiate is one of the reasons he is the best foreign policy president we have had in a generation. Iran's foreign minister will have indirect talks with the U.S. envoy over nuclear program. Now, the previous deal that was made by Barack Obama allowed sanctions to be lifted against Iran. Iran got to keep their money that they made, and then they released oil on the world market. Donald Trump's not a fan of that deal, okay? The Iranians are like, give us our money. You guys are sanctioning our money. You guys are holding our money. Give us our money, and we'll release oil, and we won't work on a nuclear program. That was the deal that they had with Obama. Trump trashed that deal, said it was a horrible deal. And what will be the new deal? What will be offered here other than just military strikes and actions here that the United States is preparing for and readying for, as there's huge amounts of troop movement to the Middle East right now. There's huge, significant portions of military infrastructure from the United States being sent right now all around Iran. Now, Michael Tracy makes a point here saying if the basis for these direct negotiations is that Iran must agree to allow the U.S. to explode and or dismantle their entire nuclear program, then it's not difficult to foresee how the negotiations could just be a pretextual tactic to pave the way for military action. Yeah. If you're the Iranians, you're like, hey, these guys want to disarm us, and they're talking about following the Libyan model, which they exactly did, and then they got filleted. Do we want to get filleted? Do we want to get overthrown? No? Okay. Well, it's one of the few negotiation tactics that we have here. Why would we willingly give it away? That's probably what's going through their mind here. And again, I'm not a fan of the Iranians. I'm not here supporting Iran. As there's some people coming out and saying, oh, yeah, U.S. intelligence says Iran is not building a nuclear weapon. Listen, they probably are. Let's just be real with ourselves. It would be advantageous for them to do it, especially with their extensive ties that they now have with the Russians, as the Russians are providing them advanced fighter jets and missile defense systems. They're also providing them missile systems. The Iranians are providing them a lot of drones that they're using right now in the theater of war in Ukraine. That has made a big significant difference. Now, I already posted this. Tucker Carlson posted this. There's people arguing with Tucker Carlson. Rob Schneider just posted, no war with Iran. I posted that I'm already against the Iran war. That, of course, is being set up here, is being built here. Now, there's a couple pathways here that we could follow. And I think it's fair that we're leaning and going ever so closer towards the pathway of perpetual war, an Iraq 2.0 scenario, a vacuum of power, massive sectarian violence, a failed state, global jihadism, just like we had last time, to the tune of how many American lives? A couple thousand. To the tune of millions of, probably 1 million people, some soldiers, some not, just losing their lives here. Over what? Let's make a deal here, folks, okay? But the prospects of it, let's be real. We'll be keeping a close eye on the story. We'll be I'll be reporting Saturday. I won't work Saturday. No, excuse me. I will work Saturday. I now work every Saturday anyway. I will work overtime Saturday covering this down. We might go live, so click the subscribe button and the notification button. Listen, it's pretty clear here that Netanyahu brought a bunch of influencers, and they're like, okay, we're not going to tell, chat on house rules. Don't tell anybody. They took away their cell phones, and they're like, listen, you got to be on board with us bombing Iran. This is our argument for bombing Iran already. Setting up the precedent of, you're going to be on our side. Because they know this war can't stop if there's a lot of opposition to it. What better way to stop the opposition than take all the influencers, bring them in, And after you bring them in, you're like, okay, listen, this is our argument. This is our propaganda. This is our weapons of mass destruction speech. Once again, we're reliving the same frickin' miserable timeline that caused so much. I mean, listen, if there's going to be anti-war protests, I'll be out there because it's ridiculous. It's stupid, and it doesn't serve America, its people, its interest to be involved in these foreign endeavors. The Iraq war, how did that work out? The Iran war is going to be that much more disastrous. Now, especially with extensive military ties between China and Russia. Come on. Are you freaking kidding me? This right here, big mistake that deserves to be called out. If you agree, share this video with your friends and family members. Say what you may about Tim. Unlike all the other influencers that were there, he actually told everyone that he was right after he was. I don't see a lot of other influencers saying, I met with Netanyahu. I was there. I talked to him. Who else was there? Chanting House rules. Again, but there's news reports coming out of it. And I think the warning that Tim gave us is a very meaningful one. It's a very powerful one. And I think it's worth hearing. And it's worth addressing. And it's worth warning people about. If you agree, get this video out there. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more. Go meditate. Seriously, we need more peace and less cortisol, less stress, and less bull crap in this world. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on youtube.com/WeAreChange.